Hello ladies and gentlemen and welcome to Society Today. This evening there is a special topic. BuzzFeed posted a little video a few days ago on the internet about when you feel left out. It's a video about someone who's telling about a party, and we gotta watch it first before we go on tonight.
Have you ever felt that sheer panic when you think you've been left out, excluded, alienated? You're scrolling through the old Instagram, as one does, and you come across a picture of friends. They're so cute. They're smiling. Oh my god, they look like they're having so much fun. Wait, where is this? Is it a club? Or like a circus? Why wasn't I invited? Hello, old insecurities. Care to jump to the worst conclusion with me? Are they tired of me? Did I say something? Are they just pretending to like me? Maybe there's a logical reason for this. They were planning a surprise party for me, but it's not anywhere near my birthday. You like the picture, pretending it doesn't bother you. You're dreading seeing them again. Should you even bring it up? You decide to play it cool, you know, like you don't care. You try to gather intel, but casually. So, what'd you do the other night? Oh yeah, just hung out with the gang, yep. Sounds cool, sounds cool. You're waiting for some epic apology. Like, oh my god, I totally forgot to invite you. I'm so sorry. Or even, oh, I didn't really think it was your thing. Anything would be fine. And maybe you didn't want to go out to whatever it was, but that invitation would have made you feel wanted, appreciated. The frustration builds up until it's impeding your every thought. You can't even enjoy lunch.
To go further on this topic, I have Steven Hessing here next to me. He's going to talk about this happening on his school. Well, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, and wouldn't be anywhere else. And I have psychologist Bruce Tuckman over here to talk about the psychology side of the story. Well, it's a pleasure to be here. So, Steven, can you tell me about this happening on your school? My real situation about the topic. I was in class, Theory of Knowledge, and there we needed to make a presentation. I had to go to the toilet because everyone has to go once in a while. And when I came back, I saw everyone was already in a group. And there were groups of 3 and 4, and there was a max of 4 people per group. So first I went to some people with 3 people in a group, and I asked if I could join them. And they said no. So I was like, let's sit down again and see what happens. So the teacher came to me and she asked me, what are you doing or what's going on? And I told her this story, and that I couldn't join a group, or I didn't want to join a group. And she came up with the idea of the topic, when do I know when I fit in? Because at that moment I didn't fit in with any groups. So that's my real life situation. Well, thank you for your interesting story. Like every evening we have a knowledge issue that we will talk about. Tonight this knowledge issue will be, how do I know when I fit in? Of course this question is very broad, so we're gonna narrow it down to 4 main questions. What if there were no groups ever made? What influences does your personal history / experience have with choosing your group? To what extent do people choose friends above results? And how does your status influence your group choices? Steven will tell us his thoughts about all these questions, and Bruce Tuckman will tell about how he looks on these things. Now, to go to the first question. What if there are no groups ever made? Steven, tell me about it. What do you think? To answer your first question, what if there were no groups ever made? What I think, there would be a lot of chaos everywhere. Because working with people gives less chaos because you have less ideas, random ideas and things like that. But I think there would also be people that only see one side of a story. Every story, every topic has more sides. And a person is mainly focused on one side all of the time. The side he prefers most. That's logical, of course. And when he works with other people, those people have also different sides of the same topic. So when you combine them, a person gets a broader view about that topic. So that would also be less good for your knowledge. Art is also very broad. And someone that likes math or science will look to the science in a painting, like how it's compensated or things like that. While someone that is into humanities, that person will look to the backstory of the painting, or who's in it, or what they're doing. So that makes very clear that there's a big difference between sides of a topic. Okay, now Bruce, what do you have to say about it? To give a response to you, Steven, when there are no groups ever made, people start to think individually. Because when people are in a group, they decide on one group opinion. But you may not be agreeing with that opinion, but because you don't want to be the deviant, you want to be the team player, you agree on that opinion. So you don't think individually. That's one of the important points about group thinking, of bad points about group thinking. And there will also be some important points missed when you're not cooperating in a group. It promotes learning autonomy by allowing students to decide on their own things, and this time not given by the teacher or told them. This dramatically increases their talking opportunities. Also, it encourages their skills like negotiation and cooperation, which is very important in life later on. Okay, clear. Now, the second question of tonight. What influences does your personal history / experience have with choosing groups? Steven, what do you know about this and what can you tell about this? Well, to answer your second question, if say members be in a group for several times already, what I see, they start recognizing each other's work. They know their best and their worst, the things they do good, the things they do bad, and they can focus on that. That's harder if you start with a new group. And that's difficult to do, and that's why people don't like to do it. And a lot of people don't even think when making groups. One friend of mine, she told me when I was talking with her about this, that when we were in class, she heard we had to go do a presentation, and she was immediately like, "There are my friends, come over here, let's do this presentation." So that's how easy a group can be made. But if your friends are already in a group, you don't have much left. So that's how the kind of experience works. And if, for example, you have a very bad experience with someone that's constantly giving his opinion the headlights, and your opinion can't even be brought up, and he will smash it in the ground again, you would not choose him again because you have a bad history with that person or a bad experience with that person. And that's obvious, of course. Okay. Bruce, to answer your question. The experience is the most important thing in life. It really is. It distinguishes what is good and what is bad. A good example is you go to a restaurant recommended to you. It's a perfect restaurant, perfect table, wonderful food, and wonderful wine. The experience is fantastic. However, when clearing the table, the waiter spills coffee in your lap. This is of course terrible. And that ruins your whole experience of the evening. And only that thing makes you dislike that restaurant immediately. And that's exactly how experience can change a wonderful memory into like the worst nightmare ever. And that's also when you're choosing groups. If someone does something horrible with you or do to you, then you immediately think that that you do not like that person or do not want to work with that person. Okay. Next question. To what extent do people choose friends above results? Bruce, let's start with you this time. People pick friends that are similar to them. First of all, they agree on a lot, and therefore decisions are made easier because someone can discuss about a decision for hours. An example for this is a questionnaire filled in at a university. A man walked into a cafeteria and a library and just the playground, and he looked for people that were with the two of them. And they both filled in a questionnaire. Two questions are: the average person can live a good enough life without religion, or families work best with women do the work and home and men do the work outside the home. They noted what they think about this, and almost all the groups had around the same answer, and it was for every group. So that resembles again how much people do choose their friends and work with them. Okay. Now, Steven, tell us what you think. Well, Bruce, that were some very good points. But what I see is working with friends is fun. And it's relaxing because you're having fun. And that's most of the time not very productive. Out of experience, we do the most of the things in the last week or two. And when someone chooses friends above results, it's very depending on the subject. When you're doing good for the subject, I would choose my friends because I can easily nail this presentation or nail this group work. But when I'm doing bad for the subject and I need this mark to be high, I would prefer to go with people that I know I could go and work with and get a high mark, so I could get that higher points and get a higher average. And that's smart to do. That's at least I think. But sometimes even self-selected groups perform equally as good as when a teacher chooses the groups. So that's also dependent on your cooperation. But what I notice when a student selects the groups, they're always with their friends. They are never choosing like the smart people that they would get a high mark with. They're always with their friends. Last question now. How does your status influence your group choices? For this question we're gonna do a little experiment. Now I want everyone in the classroom to close their eyes. Yes, you too, Miss Hubers. And I'm going to say some groups, some stereotypical groups. And if you feel like you belong to it, or it's something you do, if something that's a characteristic about you, raise your hand. And I want everyone their eyes closed all the time. Okay? You ready for it? Okay, now we start with the first group. Raise your hand if you feel like you're one of the gamers. Let's start with that. That's the easy one. Okay? You lower your hands. Next group, if you're one of the sportive kids. Raise your hands if you feel like you belong to that group or you're in that group. Next, if you're one of the environmentalists. Those that are people that care a lot about the environment and would go to a ride for that. The next one is if you feel like you're one of the smarter kids. Be honest, nobody can see it. Next group is if you belong to the creative people. People that love arts, do a lot of painting. Now, the next group, the vegetarians or vegans. Now, there's also a group called the overachievers. Now, the last one. This one is very hard. And no one actually can say this about himself, but you may be thinking like this or you may feel like this. And no one can see this, so you just be honest. Raise your hand if you feel like you're one of the popular kids. This was our experiment. Now you can open your eyes again. Now I have like a clue from what you think about being in groups and if groups are connected to each other. Now Bruce Tugman will tell more about this. Well, from what I saw from the experiment you just did, there were people that sat together and raised their hands at the same time. So this means they are in the same group. And that shows that they are sitting together because they're linked with each other. And when I look at the presentation groups, I saw again a similarity between the topics they raised their hand up. And there is always one similar interest that they are all interested in. And that's what binds them. And that makes it easier to work as a group. So that's clearly how your status influences your group choices, because you always choose someone that with your same interests and your same status. What I actually think, the status doesn't influence anything. It's just a strange topic, I think. And I don't think we have it nowadays. Okay, thank you Steven, thank you Bruce, thank you very much for this wonderful evening. Thank you for answering these questions. Thank you. It was a pleasure to share my knowledge with the people that didn't know this. Now I will give a little conclusion to the question, how do I know when I fit in? And that's actually still very hard to answer, even after all the opinions from Bruce and Steven. It's a thing you don't know. It's also an answer, and you never know. You may do not fit in for yourself, you may think that, but your friends may think otherwise, or otherwise around. You think you belong to someone, some group or someone, but they maybe think you don't, so you never know when you fit in. Now, well, that was it for the evening. Have a great one, and see you in the next episode.